I normally take about 45 minutes to unpack this topic. So today Niall's only given me 15 minutes. So we're going to get the greatest hits, but importantly, all the things I'm saying hopefully will spark discussion both here on the room and online. The future workplace is basically change forever in the way that we communicate, in the way that we collaborate, in the way that create, and the way that we innovate. But hybrid is here to stay. Some interesting stats about hybrid. 38% will move to distributed workforce, and importantly, 48% will invest in building more meeting spaces. Hybrid brings a whole lot of challenges, and it's interesting that when we're all sent home, many of us in March 2020, we were sent home with a laptop, maybe a voucher to buy a monitor, but we weren't given an instruction manual on how to actually manage and motivate people remotely. And one of the questions I'm going to ask you in the room and online when I finish talking is, where is your pendulum? Where are you at the moment in terms of percentage in the office and at home? How much of that is regulated in that we want you to be there 3 days a week, there are core days? How much is that I actually want to be in the office? The other group I think that have missed out, and I saw this real time, is our younger leaders. I actually went and did a talk back in 2020 to a pension fund for a group of graduates that were being inducted. It was a week of induction. And they knew they would not meet their other colleagues for 18 months. They learn by watching the senior leaders do things. And so I think while the pendulum for some young people might be, it's great to be at home, actually I'm missing out, not because I need to be in the office because I'm required to be, but I'm actually missing those stolen conversations. Human-centric, we want to basically have those meaningful connections. So how can we, whether we're in the room or at home, have those meaningful connections? How do we collaborate? How do we actually have that shared purpose? How do our outcomes become aligned with our beliefs, our values, and our emotions? When I'm asked about the future of work, I think about the 3 Ps: people, place, and purpose. How do we decode hybrid work with a focus on people? So knowing that some people are not in the room, they can't see what's going on. If I walk over and there's a whiteboard at the back of this room and start writing on that, will the people at home be able to understand that? The final P I think is the most important, and that's purpose. Why do we come to work? What is drawing us to come back into work? What drew you to come in physically today? What drew you to actually dial up today as well? I want to talk about meeting equity. There are 3 components I think of meeting equity. Equitable audio. Hopefully you can hear me really well because this little owl is doing a really good job in focusing on my voice. I was up in Manchester last week and I was talking to some people from Sennheiser and Bose. There's actually technology now to pinpoint exactly where I am. Inclusive video, and there's a great example of it happening here today. This is a little video from Logitech where, very similar to the owl concept, basically you can see people in the room and you can also see them zoomed in. Using a lot of AI, it's using a camera in the middle of the room, but also what they do is use a camera at the front. So as you'll see, he's talking, he turns away. The AI says, well, he's now moved to the front of the screen. We're going to show him face on rather than him side on. And also engaging content sharing. I talked about the whiteboard at the back of the room. Again, another Logitech product here. They basically put a camera atop a normal whiteboard and it uses AI to basically even look at what the sticky labels look like. We hear a lot about the gig economy. Gig economy, you might think Uber driver or a delivery driver. I think we're going to see the start of a fractional employment industry. I'd like to work for this company 3 days a week and this company 2 days a week. So I have to have different pension systems, different IT systems, different firewall situations. So I think senior people will become executive gig workers. And I predicted this before the pandemic, and I think the purpose is now, do I really want to work here 3 days a week, 5 days a week? There are companies like Telstra, one of my old employers, and Atlassian, both in Australia actually, that have basically said we're going to source from wherever the best people are. We actually have the resources inside our company. We have 2 tribes. We have the going digital, very senior, very able to get work done, do RFPs, report to boards, but their digital skills are developing. We then have the born digital, whose first toy was an iPhone. They live and breathe all this tech stuff, but they just want an opportunity to share what they know with the going digital. The 2 tribes actually need each other. Normally you think hackathons are for tech development teams to solve technical problems. You can actually use a hackathon with those 2 tribes to solve business problems. Get the right tech for home and office. Think about moving towards meeting equity. understand the role of purpose, prepare for fractional employment, and also develop a talent anywhere strategy. Where is your pendulum at the moment versus remote and office? Have you started some manager training to support that hybrid work? What's the biggest learning over the last 2 years? What are you doing differently, and how's what I've said today going to impact or change that? What you do differently if you had our last 2 years over again? And how has your hiring strategy changed?
I would definitely recommend Andrew as the speaker for my next event. His talk was informative but also passionate and gave us great information to move forward with.
I would definitely recommend Andrew as a speaker at your next event because it was a super engaging event that we had. There was people online, there was people in the room, and I think it flowed really well. Everyone felt engaged whether they were there or not.
He really ticked all the boxes from the point of view of preparation, very clear communication. At the actual event, he arrived early and was professional in the way he led the presentation. Excellent presentation, actually, great content, and then was able to lead the room for the discussion that followed.
I would recommend him highly for talks on the future of business because he really understands what's coming and how to navigate that.